I've been struggling to find inspiration for art lately, especially since we moved, and I guess all of my routines are kind of in tatters. And so I guess honestly, I've been doing a lot to try to help this, and I've made some progress. But one of the things that I thought to do was kind of go back over some of my old paintings and maybe redo a couple of them to see, I guess, how I've improved over the last 3 years. Specifically, I found this painting of the Christmas pudding that I did in December of 2019. I made a card for my friend, and I was really excited with how it turned out. And I remember really liking that painting, and honestly, I still think it's pretty cute. But I wanted to see, how over the last few years, how my skills have grown and developed and changed. So I thought it would be fun to, I guess, redo this. And so this is the speed painting that you're watching, is me painting my attempt to redo this. With the first painting, it was just the cake or whatever, the pudding, floating in space, because I wasn't really especially, I didn't know how to draw plates. I didn't know how to even begin approaching perspective or anything like that. So that is why that doesn't have any details like that. And so for this painting, I wanted to try to, I guess, add some stuff. I added the table, I added the dish, and then you won't see it in this video, but I did learn something called the bokeh effect, which is where you lift the paint up with, I used a stencil that has a circle cut out, and you just lift the paint up, and it's it makes a nice little circle, kind of like a flared light effect kind of. Here I'm putting down masking fluid so that I can do washes. This is another technique I've learned recently, where you use the masking fluid to kind of free yourself up to do some of the bigger washes without having to worry as much about the details. I'm still not especially good at getting even washes over large areas like that. I think I overwork it. I think you can just fully see me doing that here. That's okay though. We're still learning. So yeah, I think I'll let you listen to some of the music for a little bit, but maybe I'll chime in with a couple of little things here or there as I go along painting. Yeah, right now I guess I'm trying to add depth through kind of shading in the background. Yeah. I tried to use a different blue. I usually use a darker blue because I like it better, and I actually don't fully like this blue. But I'm trying to just push myself a little bit. Same with the yellow with the table. I don't really like the color very much, but I think it works good for the wood, and I often get really stuck on the same colors over and over again, and so I like to try to make myself work with colors I don't especially like, because I think that it's good for pushing yourself to grow as an artist and not get too stuck in one comfortable zone. Although I do like getting stuck in comfortable zones, which you can tell by all the house paintings I do over time. Yeah, I don't know. So, I guess maybe to try to drive a little bit of engagement or whatever, maybe if you have a way you like to challenge yourself as an artist, you can drop a comment down below. That would be kind of cool. Possibly also like and subscribe. I'm going to try, I have very little that I commit to with this channel because I have ADHD and I'm just learning about that, and I'm only a year or two into even being medicated, and it's just there's this huge process for learning about this and how to manage it. So I specifically do this so that I don't have to make promises that I can't keep, so that I can gain confidence and learn more coping skills, so that I can meet my goals better, basically. So yeah, one thing I kind of don't like about how this a cake part turned out, I think is that it just turned out too light. And if I was to do this painting again, I would definitely go back in and darken it a little bit, because all the rest of the painting is very heavily saturated. All the paints I use or the washes I use are full of pigment, but then this wash specifically isn't. So I think I would do that differently if I redid the painting again, just to make all the elements feel like they're part of the same thing, part of the same atmosphere, universe, or whatever. I think that even though I didn't especially like the two colors that much, I think that okay, let me rephrase that. What I'm trying to say is I didn't especially like the blue or the yellow going into it, but I think when you put them together in this context, they actually work really well. And now we're on a new day. And here's a huge mistake I made. I started by using gouache because I made a little brown spot in the dish on accident, and so I'm using gouache to try to cover it up, and then I ended up doing gouache all over the entire plate and all over the frosting, and that was just a terrible mistake. I should at the very least have done it last, but I honestly, if I did this painting again, would probably just skip this part. I thought it would make the plate and the frosting shinier, which might add texture and be kind of cool, but when I went in to add shading later, it just kind of really, everything got all muddy and mixed up, and it was lifting the gouache a bunch. And so I think I would just do that differently next time as well. But that's why we do this, to make mistakes and learn lessons, right? I really have fun with this. And this was one of the more successful paintings that I've done recently, because trying to get back into the habit has kind of, I feel like I've lost some ground with my confidence, and so I'm trying to gain some of that back, which means, for me specifically, it means doing these weird dashes of forcing myself to make something, just anything, and just doing it as fast as I can, just to have done it and have something that's finished. And those don't always, you make a lot of mistakes doing something like that. And I still think it's a very worthy art practice to just every once in a while try to just crank something out super fast and not overthink it. Just get it out and let the mistakes happen and just have a finished thing that you've completed. I think that's still a valid approach, but it has led to some less than successful paintings recently, and I am happy to kind of be starting to get back into the part where I'm a little bit more comfortable and more practiced and feeling more confident, so I can take the time to slow down, because I feel like if I slow down when I'm not confident, then I just don't do anything. If I just, I guess, maybe make it as fast as I can and make all the mistakes, then the worst of it's over. Worst case scenario has happened, and I can just start again. And actually, one kind of really fun observation I've had from that is that I'm much faster at drawing than I had been even just a few months ago. I haven't really gotten a chance to practice a lot since June. Just life has been really hectic, and all of my routines and stuff are messed up from moving and everything. So to see how I feel like even taking a break and coming back to it, there's been almost a jump in my abilities, my skills. That's kind of fun. It's nice to know that you can take a break and not, I guess, lose ground. And even if you do lose ground, all of those skills are still there. You just gotta dust them off. So that's nice. That's good to know. I said I was gonna let you guys listen to music, and then I just kept talking, but that's okay. Oh, another thing I think I would do differently if I redid this is wait to fill in those dark spots until I've done all the shading, because I was worried about going back in and doing shading over those spots, because there's such a heavily saturated pigment that I felt like if I got it too wet trying to add the shadows and the shading, that it would reactivate the paint and make it smear. So it was a very touchy thing. And then that definitely happened with the gouache, so I wasn't wrong to fear it. Like, I definitely should have been careful with that, but that's okay. Again, you live, you learn. I have a different vlog on here where I talk about like slowly putting together this cool painting of a neighborhood with like a really nice sunset that's like the whole atmosphere. And one of my attempts to do that, I did all the detail painting before I did the atmosphere wash, which should technically be an underpainting, and all of that should have been done first, but I forgot and got excited and instead did the details first. So then when I did the backwash, it was very blurry, and it was a huge mistake. But again, like I said, you learn and then you just start over and you make the same painting again but better, and that's definitely what I did. So if you're curious about that, I will maybe link to that video down below, or even add a thing at the end so you can go check it out there. You know, like at the end card when you have the suggestions, I'll add the video there instead. So check that out if you would like to as well. That would be fun. So yeah, I don't think that I show me doing it, but I do figure out how to put some wood grains into the table as well. I think that with this, you do kind of see how like my shading skills have grown, and I'm like doing a fairly good job of adding depth to this and stuff like that. I noticed when you're trying to deal with perspective, like the back of the table would be less focused and maybe even darker than the foreground. So I tried to incorporate some of that. Oh no, here is me adding the wood grain. What I did was I slightly wetted a flat brush, and then I kind of ran my finger along the edges of it so that it would separate out almost into like little teeth or whatever. And then I rubbed that over a very dry mix of paint, and then kind of did like a very dry wash to try to add some lines to make a wood grain in the table. And you might be able to see that better in the picture, the finished picture at the end, than you can here. But it was a pretty cool technique, and it worked pretty well, and I was surprised at how much, I guess, texture and like depth or whatever it added to the table. So that was another fun thing I learned that I kind of forgot about. And I like to do that with my paintings. Or with any art really, it's, you try to like tackle one specific skill or pick up some sort of technique that will help you grow as you do all of this. So yeah. Now I'm doing I think they're currants. I think that's what they're called. The little berries. Kind of, I guess, have holly leaves more, but that's okay. Maybe it's holly berries. We'll say it's that. And then I think I'm going to try to do some shading on the plate. Yeah. And then with this, as I'm adding the gray, I don't know if you can tell, but it was just lifting all of the gouache up, and it kind of made it almost like murky and a little bit messier instead of shiny. So, like I said, you try and then you figure out how to do better next time. I don't know. And I did in general really like how this painting turned out. It's definitely room for more growth, but you can also definitely see how I've grown, and I like how, I guess, cheerful a lot of my work turns out. That always makes me feel good. I don't know. I feel like you can see like some of my influences, like even, I don't know, like Gary Larson from The Far Side and stuff like that, in some of how I do this too. I don't know. I feel like I can definitely see like the Gary Larson influence in my art style. He was one of my favorite artists since growing up. So I'm getting kind of wrapped up in the shading process here. I'm interested in watching it. This is kind of fun to see what I was thinking and stuff like that. Trying to get some highlights worked in, trying to get depth, trying to find a more nuanced way to represent light and lighting, so that the painting looks like it exists in space and isn't just some flat image. I want that blended better. This is like when I watch Sims speed builds and I like reach for the controls so I can take over and see the angles better. Also, it's all like tipped at an angle. I always have everything I do at an angle, and I will try to set up my camera so that maybe it seems more straight next time I do painting stuff, because this is actually really fun to do. I enjoyed this. You can't hear it, but I listened to all kinds of, like, I was watching Unsolved Mysteries during most of this painting. It was fun. It was a good time. Nice way I spent. Oh shoot, I'm done. Ha. Okay. Well, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.